Hello,
Hey,
everyone.
hey.
Welcome. I love our new intro, that's for sure. Welcome,
I
everyone.
like it too. I think it's cool.
That's right. Welcome to Let's Talk Theater. We are so excited to have you in here with us today. So, when you come to an episode of Let's Talk Theater, it's like you're going in for Sunday dinner. So whatever you get on your Sunday dinner, it's like you come to sit down with us and you're having some Sunday dinner. So whatever that is for you, for me growing up was curry chicken, some rice and peas, and some plantains. For others, it's the other kinds of food. So whatever that is, go get your dinner and you get ready for this unbelievably heartwarming episode today. My name is Winston Wilson. I'm a member of the board of the Atlanta Black Theater Festival, and I'm here with Tony Simmons Henson, who is our illustrious founder. Welcome, Tony.
I like that. You got me all warm and fuzzy and hungry.
That's exactly right.
I haven't
That's
eaten
right.
yet.
That's right. Everybody in the family, pull up. So we're really excited about this conversation today, though. Oh my gosh.
Right.
We
Yeah,
got
this is going to be a good one. I agree with you. I think that what really resonates with me is that everything is always in divine time. It just seems to me like whenever we're doing something, it's always in line with what's trending. And that is, to me, just I think that says something about the work that we do.
That's exactly right. We encourage you all to comment, share, subscribe. We're very close to hitting that very wonderful next milestone. So we need everybody who can to join up, to be down with this community, just like you've been part of the ABTF community for 15 years. We're having our quinceañera this year. So we're having a phenomenal year this year. So we're super excited about that fact. And you know, the one thing, Tony, you just said that it really resonates with me is that every time we have an episode, and we talk about another artist's journey, it's never the same, because people are always living this journey. The more our stories are being heard, the more our lives are getting enriched, the more our spirit grows. And I'm super excited about our guest today. Oh my, this story is, when I saw the info for it, I felt it really touched me in momentous ways. And this is his first podcast episode. For those of you out there, please give him the wonderful grace that comes with being part of the Let's Talk Theater family and the ABTF. So we're so excited.
And I'm going to introduce him. He is Ulysses Brown Jr., and he is one of the playwrights who has submitted his work to the Atlanta Black Theater Festival this year. And the name of the work is Maynet's Awakening.
Yes, Maynet's Awakening.
I had to check my notes there. So without further ado, I look delayed. Am I delayed?
You are slightly, but you're good.
Okay, well, I'm going to clap it up. Let's clap it up. If you are in the audience, we're having some technical problems. I know we are not connected to Facebook. I don't know why, but I'm going to try to fix that. In the meantime, let's clap it up for Ulysses Brown. I put the laugh. I'm supposed to put the clap. You know, come on. Here we go. Here's the clap.
There we go. We totally love that clap. Ulysses, tell us a little bit about yourself and your journey. Give us a couple of minutes to talk to the audience about how you've gotten here and your unbelievable path as a creator.
Yeah, I started out writing at a very young age, doing journaling, and knew from the beginning, had a vivid imagination about stuff. And my friends couldn't keep up. And so I just sometimes felt myself in my own world, writing down story after story and pages after pages, hundreds of pages later, went nowhere. So I love to write. And it was a Y2K scare came out. That was 1999.
Yeah.
And I said to myself, as a writer, man, I need to, software development came into being. And I started writing software, got very good at it. Believe it or not, you can get creative writing software. And so I wrote lots of software for some of the apps for businesses across the world. Started my own company, wrote software for 25 years, retired, and then decided, I've got the hang of writing again. And so I'm come full circle.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
That's an
You know,
awesome
think of a software
juxtaposition.
writer and
Right.
somebody
Yeah,
writing stage plays and screenplays and scripts and novels. But that's my journey.
well, I tell you, Ulysses, I've found that there's several people that I know, even part of the ABTF, who are in technical fields. And sometimes they are engineers or software creators. I think sometimes it's like a different kind of creator. So I'm sure you went through that same path when it came to your own software engineering role. That to me sounds like a lot of creative work there. So now
Yeah.
let's go ahead, please.
No, I'm saying, but the world changed. As soon as AI started to take over, and you didn't have to, I learned the hard way. I spent hundreds and hundreds of hours developing my craft and writing software. You had to write it long-handed and all this coding and stuff. And the world changed. And so I tapped out and got into something where I can still be creative and write long-handed stuff and have people accept it.
Well, we know the old story about when one door closes, right? And how what the next door means. And so tell us about Maayet's awakening. This is such an amazing story. I'm super jazzed about. Tell us what was the spark that made you decide I'm going to write and create this story?
So Maayet's awakening, and really I like to pronounce it Maayet's.
Oh, okay.
But anyway, it's part of a larger story of this character Hardy, who's got these quirks about him and this sort of thing. So it started on a Memorial Day several years back when I started looking at my own family and noticed that we had forgotten physically the things that we used to do on Memorial Day back then. We would tend to the graves of our elders. We would take people there. They couldn't get there and stuff. And so the whole community was involved around this Memorial Day event.
Right.
And I looked at my family, and the only thing they were, especially my kids, they had no obligation. The only thing they were looking for was maybe a cookout or some music or some dancing. There was no sacrifice, no lessons being taught. So I felt at that moment, I am one of the last that are around that remember how we used to do the community engagement, all of this stuff. And so I remember this event where we had taken our family used to take this old couple down to the country and tend to their graves. And this guy had this quirkiness about him. He had this way of bringing out these gifts in people through his storytelling and things. And that was the inception of Maynet's awakening. Because, of course, my imagination took over, and some fact, some fiction, some folklore in the story. But it's really about a family's Memorial Day journey to discover some facts and some truths and some inner gifts that are inside that have been buried that this character Hardy brings alive.
Yeah, I don't want to take away the whole story, but the character Hardy, he reminds me of a family member that I had that passed a couple of years ago. That was my great grandmother, who was 106 years old in Jamaica. And as you can imagine, the amount of stories associated with someone that's lived that life is really, really amazing.
In this story, Hardy is 101, so he hasn't made it. He wasn't able to make it to 106, but still, it's a lot of years and a lot of story inside of a person that age.
Yeah, I think sometimes people don't know how inspirational our storytellers are from our lives, right? I guess the sense that you would agree about that same kind of thing, that the storytellers are just so important to our lives.
I do. One of the other things about it, 101 years ago, well, this story is set in 1960. So 101 years from 1960 was the 1860s. That was in the middle of slavery. So he came up through, and that's a part of the story and the truths that are starting to be buried today, where these older folks can tell you firsthand accounts, and that's a part of what makes Hardy unique. Is that he was born back then. He could spread those truths that have been forgotten.
Does Uncle Hardy in the story recognize who he is? Like he is a truth keeper? Is that something, without divulging every single thing of it? But I saw the trailers for it, and it's phenomenal. Does he ever come to that realization throughout the story?
Absolutely. Absolutely. He knows that he is the truth keeper of the whole community. He was the one because he has, I don't want to give away the story completely, but he's got a photographic memory. And so because of how he was born and he had a rough birth, something happened that created this unique ability to remember everything. And so people recognized that early on. And so they would come to him to give their truths, to tell their stories. And part of the story, that's a big part of it. He does recognize that, but this is his last journey. This is his last Memorial Day. So he's come to the reckoning that somebody else has to carry this.
Wow. This is a controversial question I'm going to ask you. And so please feel free to say, I don't feel like answering that one if it's too. So why do you think families, and I'm talking about my family and probably some other families, why do you think that we sometimes struggle when it comes to what we avoid the stories that we really need to hear about what our families have had?
Yeah, that's an important piece of what's going on in this whole story here. Yeah. That's one of the essential questions that, it's, I wish I knew the answer to that story. I know why some things just seem like they are less burdensome. They're less, the whitewash story is easier to swallow than the real truth in some cases, in many cases. And families, Harding struggles with that in this story.
Yeah, part of what you said there may help with this, where you shared that from 1960 to 1860s, 100 years ago, and then we got to where we are today. Time, sometimes, I know for some families, like my own family, we came from another country, and we're all distributed across the planet Earth. So hence our stories aren't in one centralized place because we're all over the world.
Right.
That could be part of it. So what responsibility you think about that we, comes with us to carry that truth going forward about what's happened with our family? What do you think our responsibility for all of those who are listening, all those people who are sitting down eating their Sunday dinner? What is our responsibility for us to keep our stories and our family going in your mind?
We absolutely have a responsibility. And that's why I wrote this scene, because I felt like with that history being lost, all of those feelings, that stuff that's not only in your memory and all, but it's in your DNA and in your blood, how your body feels and everything. If that's being lost, somebody has to carry it forward. And so I took on the responsibility for my family to make sure that this story is written down. And everyone has that same responsibility to play. Someone in that family should feel the urge to continue writing their truths, their stories, some things that are buried that the next generation will only realize through you. And so I felt like it was a sin for those to be lost. My ancestry, the people before me would probably roll over in their grave had they known that, some of these things that are truths were not passed on to the next generation as they should be. And it's only, and sometimes it's only in the future, later generations, that things can be rectified. And that's a part of what this story is about. Back, if you were trying to get a land claim back in the 1940s, for example, because you were Black, even though you owned the property, you couldn't do it. But now, if your family kept that story going, the truth of that story, that you own that property and this and that, now you may be able to do that. So if those truths are lost, if they're not carried forward, those opportunities are lost forever.
Wow, that is so true. Everyone that's out there, please send us your comments, your thoughts about what Ulysses is sharing with us so far. Tony, what do you think about what Ulysses is sharing?
I think this is just a sign of the times, like I started earlier saying that, and I want to know, what does this mean to you? Why is this story so important right now? And I think you touched on that a little bit, but if you could elaborate, that would help.
It's the timing, like you said, Tony, is it's out of spiritual in a sense, because we're living in a time right now where truths are being lost, they're being whitewashed, being buried under. It's gotten so bad that you can look at facts in your face, and they were trying to tell you that what you see is not what
Mm.
you should believe. And so this story goes into a lot of that, you know. And the irony of it is that this character, the main character Hardy, always has his eyes closed. You know, and they think he's blind, but he's not. He just keeps his eyes closed. And if you read the story further, you can understand why. So, you know, if they're trying to tell us now that what we see with our own eyes isn't the truth, someone has to have the truth and be able to spread that truth and tell it. And if we have enough evidence of it, eventually be accepted, we can overcome some of the claims that have been put into the what is the term that you called it? It was the official account, correct?
Yeah.
Yeah. So you know, the official account a lot of times is not necessarily the official account.
Isn't that funny? Like sometimes now we got 3 different official accounts that don't
Yeah.
make sense. There's only gonna be one official account. You can't have 3 different kinds of official accounts. For sure.
It used to be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth. But now they have what they call this alternate truth, I guess.
That's exactly right.
And it's funny that you say that, Ulysses, because when I think about when we think about whatever historical records there are, and how we're, like you said, we're witnessing right now the rewriting of things that we're living now, the rewriting of the account. And I mentioned before, because I've been following obsessively the Nolan Wells case. And in my former life, a lot of people don't know this, but I used to be a prosecutor's investigator. So I understand the process, the criminal process, and like I said, that just the changing of the facts is just mind-boggling to me. But so I want to just take a moment to honor anybody who doesn't understand what's happening with their family, or doesn't have the story, and the records are closed, or the unsolved mysteries around families. But I also want to also pay homage to your piece, because in the power that this is why theater is so important. And I want you to just elaborate a little bit on why does theater close this gap that we're living in real time.
And on stage, you can tell a story and make it very personable. You know, especially in the Black community, they connect with these characters because they've lived through it. They've seen it. They know the stories themselves, but they may not have, you know, the ability to really put it on stage so others can experience it. And so it's important, you know, and that's why I try to really, you know, put a lot of personality, a lot of character development in the stuff that I bring on the stage. Because when someone is sitting in that pew, or I'm thinking church, but in the seat, you know, they should feel the emotions and all of the history and everything unfold in front of them. They should get chills up their spine when it hits home. And that's what I love about it. And I fell in love with the theater. And because of that experience, you know, the music, the feel, and knowing that it was so personable to me when it's done right. Hopefully I've done a good job at this one, so people can feel the strong emotion of family, the tug and back and forth. And the truth about it, everything is not so vanilla black and white. You know, there are nuances. And in this story, there's some family dynamics that everyone will relate to, you know, jealousies and all this other stuff going on. And so as it unfolds on stage, people should be able to feel it, and they can relate, they can connect. You're like, oh man, is he talking about me? Or is he talking about my family? Or, you know, and I love to see that in the audience reactions too, you know, when you know that you've connected. And so that's why I feel like, you know, theater, live theater in particular, can convey that in ways that some other media can't.
I'd love to play a clip because I know you do have some very strong characters. So I'm going to play a clip right now.
Well, Uncle Hardy, you and I gonna have to go upstairs and get you changed for our trip out to the country. You gonna have to change clothes, honey. Now, I know you hate to mess up something this pretty walking through briars and marsh.
Well, I am Monique Forbes, and the character I'm playing today is Ribby. She's the disciplinarian, but she's also the peacemaker. She keeps things together, so when things go awry a little bit, she's the one that knows how to kind of shift and change and pivot a little bit to kind of make the situation a little more even.
That's right.
Doesn't it feel like everyone's got an,
I know.
It's like I recognize him, and I'm sure other people recognize an Uncle Hardy in their family too.
Now, I'm going to tell you though, not everybody got an Uncle Hardy in their family now. He's going to be, people like him. They have people very much like him, and Ricky too, who's that other character. The disciplinarian, the person who kind of keeps things on the even keel. So that's part of the character development that comes alive on stage when you see the full act.
How do you do? Tell the audience a little bit, Ulysses, about your process. I know you said you're relatively new to, but it doesn't come across like you're a relatively new writer. It comes across like you've been writing for your life. So tell us about how you developed the story. Tell us about that a little bit.
Well, I've been writing a long time. I just have not had the any success at it. I've written, my first novel was a bomb. Second one was a bomb. I've got pages and pages of stage plays and scripts and stuff. But this one felt so personal. And like I said, I think when I got emotional about it is the Memorial Day journey aspect of it. How we were losing that. And nobody does that anymore. Nobody goes to these grave sites and tends to that because you've got people who, it's outsourced or whatever. And so this story, felt real important for me to tell. And I'm telling it to my family so they will know, you have to take care of the elders, because that's some things that they can offer, the stories. One thing I do want to point out, so when we would go to these graves on Memorial Day, we may not have heard anything about our ancestors the whole year, but that was the one day that my grandma, my dad, whoever was around would tell us, oh, that's so-and-so. And the story about their life would come in. And you'd find out these tidbits of fact. They owned some land, they had this, they had that. And so as I started remembering all those things, it just felt so important to write it down. And I wrote it down, and I went back and read it, and I said, and then my imagination takes over. And so I embellished a little bit to make the story more compelling because I wanted to really bring these characters to life on the screen so that everybody could really feel the twists and turns in their life, the arcs and the ups and downs that we all go through. I wanted to make sure people could feel that emotion in each character.
You said something to me that connects, that creating a story where the characters have emotion is very important.
Yes, they do. Yeah. We all have emotion, and so writing that emotion and bringing it alive in a story, in a screen can be challenging. And, some of the stuff I wrote early was, sci-fi and comedy. I should try to write scripts for Saturday Night Live, jokes. It's just, anyway, so this feels more natural to me.
Dude, I would love to see some of them jokes because I'm sure even if they didn't accept them, I'm sure that they got some meat there.
Well, my jokes are more storytelling. The pacing and the timing and all, but I wrote them like stories. And I thought they were great jokes. But Saturday Night Live gave me my best rejection letter ever. I can't remember what to say it, but I was like, oh man, it feels good to be rejected by Saturday Night Live. I'll send some more just so I can get a nice rejection letter from them.
That is so awesome. You said something else that just really connected with me where you shared that you've been writing your entire life. And now Maaynet's Awakening is really your piece that you're getting out there. And I tell people all the time that people believe that whenever you write, that moment is the day you're supposed to go up and accept your award. And that's not the case.
not the case.
Continue to writing, continue to creating is the part of the life. That's the thing. And
Yeah, and
we
what I
just
love,
talk here.
I
Yeah, go
love
ahead.
it. Go ahead.
now I was just saying what I love about you is I can feel your passion. It's palpable.
Yeah, it's really
About
there.
your
Oh, yeah.
stories, and there's just it's just so much to I feel honored and privileged, quite honestly.
Oh, that's too
And it's
kind.
getting kind of emotional about it because here you are, you're writing, and you've been writing, you say, for years, and to trust the Atlanta Black Theater Festival with your work as the premier stage is humbling for me. It really is humbling, and I just want to say thank you. Thank you for trusting us. Thank you for trusting our audiences. And I do want to mention, because you're going to bring something a little bit different. Typically, we either have a short film or a dramatic
Stage
reading.
read. Right.
Yeah. So tell us about what you're going to do that's different for Maayet's awakening.
If the timing is right and we can fit everything in, we would like to kind of give a 4-in-1 deal where you have the stage reading, and then there's a song. If you, a part of our journey, in all of my writings, I've been inclined to have music involved. When I sit down to write, almost the first thing I do is write the soundtrack, because there's power in music, something about the drum or whatever it is. And so as I was writing this scene, there was a song that kept coming in my head. It's about remembering. And so a part of what we'll do is we'll have the stage reading, and then the playing of that song, and then the premiere of the short film, which you saw the clip from the making of that short film. We will show the film, which is short 12-minute film, but it's powerful. And then we'll also have a talk back. And so during the talk back, you can talk about all three of them, because how the script compares to what we filmed. And there are some differences because, like you said, we didn't want to tell the whole truth in the film because it may not have come across right. Back in the 60s, there were some liberties that were taken that you can't really show on screen these days. And so, and then how the song plays with people, how you feel with the song. Having seen all three, it gives a great opportunity for the talk back to have some really good discussion.
Yeah.
That's
I
amazing.
can't wait. I really am excited.
So you heard it here, everyone. You've got to be at this year's 15th annual Atlanta Black Theater Festival. This is our first ever fusion event, from the way it sounds, where we're going to have all of these disciplines at the same time. You've got to be in the room. This is not something that you're going to see anywhere else. So you've got to be there to hear what Ulysses has got. And so is some of the cast that's in the short film, are they going to be on the stage as well? Or is it going to be different?
Absolutely. Yes. Most of the cast. There are kids. We cast everyone except for the children will be played by other folks because of the logistics and, having the parents coming on. I felt bad for them having to sit on set, the parents, have to sit and wait the whole time. And so, but the cast will be there.
That's awesome.
Most of the cast.
That's awesome. So what has it taught you doing Maynet's Awakening? What has it taught you personally? Because you shared your journey, you shared what you've gone through, but tell us about what you've learned about yourself.
Perseverance, tenacity, all of that. You just have to keep going sometimes. Well, it's certainly a couple of things, many things. One thing is that not everyone will support you. Not everyone in your family will see your vision. Not everyone, will get on board. And so, and that's challenging at times, because you would think, that, your own family and all, but you have to persevere through that. It's also taught me that some people do like the story. And we've had screenings of the film, and people have walked up to me and have really been surprising. They liked it so much and stuff like that. And so it taught me that maybe there is something in this story, and I should continue to push further and maybe do some additional episodes and that sort of thing.
Well,
go ahead.
No, I was going to say when the audience is able to give you some feedback, I am sure that you will come up with a whole lot of creative ways to continue the journey with Maynet's Awakening.
Thank you.
Maynet's Awakening. Am I saying that right? What did you say?
It's Maaynet.
Maynet's Awakening.
Maayet's Awakening, yes. But my name is Ulysses. So I'm not, I've been called Ulysses, and every other kind of C's in there. So it doesn't, I'm not tripping off of, calling it the wrong name, for real. Gotten used to that in my life.
You said this a couple of times here, Ulysses, in regards to how important our stories are for our families. If someone right now wanted to think about and they wanted to document their stories of their family, is there any kind of thoughts or advice you would give them to start off with as far as documenting their family?
Yes, just so it depends. It's easier today than it was back in, because you can take your phone out and just press the record button on an audio file and just have that person speak, and you can record their story into your phone. And then after you've got several of them, you can start to develop a larger narrative from that. If you're a writer like me, you can carry a journal and just start writing. Or video footage, you can find grandma in the corner and wake her up early one morning, give her a cup of coffee and say, "Grandma, tell me about what it was like when you first went to school," or something like that. And just sit down beside her and record. That's one way that today's people can, go ahead and start getting their stories of their families recorded and passed on. And you can store them in the cloud. I mean, I've got so many pieces of paper, all kinds of notebooks and stuff now that I need to transfer up into, digital storage. That's the advantage of recording all those stories now. You can just digitize immediately, primitive storage.
Yeah, you make such a good point about talking and getting those stories out. Every time I talk to my mother, she was like, "I don't really remember anything." And then about 30 minutes in, she remembers everything.
I know.
You got to capture it all.
You got to capture it, yeah. Some of those stories are so heart-touching, heartbreaking. I mean,
they are.
Wow. I mean, and I've got some stories from my mom and older relatives that I don't want to share because they're so vulnerable, so touching,
Painful.
Painful. And that's one of the things that comes across in this piece. There are some things that families hide. I think that was one of the earlier questions. They hide these stories because they're so painful. And so that's a choice that has to be made. And I'm still wrestling with some of that.
Let's get your director. You recorded your director giving his point of view. So I'd love to share that with our viewers.
Through Reconstruction all the way up to the beginnings of the Civil Rights Movement, where this book is set in 1960. He's really seen the best and the worst parts of America. That's what really drew me to this project when Ulysses came to me with the idea of doing a short film from his upcoming book, Hardy.
I remember. You breathed out and I breathed in. Then you had me to mama.
Maynet's Awakening is adapted from a chapter out of the upcoming book Hardy. And it's a great introduction to Hardy's character because you get to see that he has a little bit of a magical element. You get to see that he's the storyteller of his community and that there's a musical element to him. So everything is in there. While there's all this turmoil going outside of the vehicle, in the vehicle is this safe space for this family.
Can I ask you, Ulysses? This is such a powerful thing. The character, the young lady that was in the bus with him, was she speaking Southern dialect? Was she speaking like a Gullah kind of thing? That was happening?
No.
What was going on?
She's from King William County, Virginia. He's trying to speak Southern.
I was like, well, what did she say?
Yeah.
That's awesome. I tell you, that young man that you have directing the piece is incredible.
He is incredible.
The talent. Oh my gosh. Woo!
Seeing this guy on set was amazing. So I'm pleased at how it turned out and looking forward to doing it on stage at the 2026 Atlanta Black Theater Festival on Friday at noon.
Yeah.
Please be there. This is an amazing story with good talent. So the director will be there. We'll be filming the stage reading and what's going on there. So if you want to meet him, he'll be there.
Well, we really want to thank you. Go ahead, Tony.
No, I was going to say it's going to be a treat. It's a powerful story. Again, I am honored. I'm so very honored that you chose to debut the film with us, as well as share the story with the ABTF family. I know it will inspire so many other things in terms of storytelling and the young people trying to get those stories from their family, and maybe even inspire some older people to share those stories in spite of the pain. And maybe the pain will not be shameful, and that's why it's important to share these stories, because they are a part of life, and they can help us move forward and understand how we can become grounded and move forward in this tumultuous environment.
Amen to that. Amen. And the honor is all mine. I mean, I'm so excited. My whole crew and cast, everyone is so very excited. We feel blessed to have the opportunity to participate. So
and I want to warn folks too, your tickets are selling pretty quickly. So
better go get them. Yeah.
If you're listening, I would go ahead and we've already had one show sell out. One of the readings sold out, and it's still 2 months to the festival. So, I think if you check out the lineup, you'll see. But this is really not about promoting the festival. This is really about promoting our stories, and for us to understand how important it is to share and support people like you who are doing the work and putting in the work. So
we thank you so much, Ulysses. I'm so excited. You've inspired me, and just like you probably inspired many others today. So for those of you you've heard Tony say it, this Labor Day, this is the time for us to come on, all be part of our family together.
Yes.
And it's going to be such an amazing time for each one of us, because as you've heard from this story, our spirit gets awakened and sparked every time we experience one of these shows.
Yeah.
We really want to thank you, Ulysses. We so look forward to it. Please come down. Make sure you shake his hand and shake the cast of his cast, and make sure you get them all really, really excited for this particular phenomenal year and this phenomenal event.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. The Atlanta Black Theater Festival, and this is a little bit of a riff, Tony, just for me. It affects my spirit every time we do one of these episodes. And sometimes people say, it's a podcast episode, it's just a regular perfunctory thing. Every time I go to a show, I'm not the same person that I was before I went into the show. And I feel that when you go to a show, it is enriching the spirit that you've been created inside of you.
Yeah.
Every single time you're not the same. And I am so looking forward to this. And make sure you do all the fun stuff, to subscribe and all that, because we need you. We need you to be part of this. We need for you to be part of this. Make sure you join us on our next episode. I believe, Tony, we're having another episode very soon here.
Yes, next Sunday. I'm so glad you mentioned
next
it.
Sunday.
We will have the monologue competition.
That's
the
right.
Forest Derby monologue competition, and we've got almost 20 students from different colleges from across the country.
That's
and
amazing.
We have Takia Crystal Kima will be our guest celebrity judge. I'm glad you mentioned that. I was so enveloped in this story. I forgot about yes, we'll have Takia Crystal Kima. She'll be one of the guest judges. Andre Minkins, he'll be a guest judge. And then another celebrity judge will be Phyllis Yvonne Stickney. So get ready. It's going to be good. It's going to be good. Next Sunday, 7 o'clock.
It's going to be great.
That's so incredible. So if you had your dinner this week, next week you got to get ready. You got to go get yourself some turkey. You got to get some, whatever it is, make sure that you're ready for next week, because next week is going to be a phenomenal thing. Because not only are we going to have this monologue competition, but every time we have it, I always love hearing these young people, and because they are the future of our stories, right?
Yes.
They're the ones who are going to be writing and telling the stories of our lives, and
Yes.
making sure that they're doing a lot what Uncle Hardy is doing many, many years from now, because they are the ones who are going to be doing it for. So I'm super excited about this. So thanks again so much, Ulysses, for joining us. We are so thankful for you. Everything you shared here today was powerful. So we totally dig it and appreciate it. And we look forward to seeing everyone again in this year's and next week's Let's Talk Theater. Have a great one. Go get yourself some dessert. Go get some dessert.